UNC mowed down Michigan State starting with about 5 minutes left in the first half. I will admit it did take them about 15 minutes of feeling it out, of seeing what Michigan State was going to do, and then they said, all right, let's go. They took the best punch that Michigan State had to offer, still came out at the end of the game looking like one of the best bets to win the national championship. That's pretty darn good. With 5 minutes left in the first half, right? Because if there's a lot of just box score watching, as you know, as much as everybody would like to just plant themselves and grow roots into their couch watching every game over a 4-day span, occasionally you have to like take the trash out. You got to pick the kids up from school. You got to, I don't know, catch a nap. So there is a lot of like, oh, how's my bracket doing? Let me refresh. And if you just saw the final score of UNC Michigan State, you probably have been like, smoked them. Which isn't wholly inaccurate, but with 5 minutes left in the first half, Michigan State was winning 28-27.
And I think Carolina at one point was down, if I remember correctly, 28-17.
Yes, something. Yeah, actually,
it was like an 11 or 12-point game,
which goes to show you the run that UNC went on.
Yeah.
So what happened in that very moment? Or actually, let me ask you this question. What happened between that very moment where Michigan State looked like the better team through at least half of the first half and the end of the game when UNC was comfortably ahead and cruising to an 85-69 victory? What was the big difference? I've got a really detailed answer for you. Not much. Not much. I don't think sometimes there is that big dramatic eureka moment that a coaching staff has where it's like, they can't stop us in the post. And from that point on, it's just dominant. Or like RJ Davis is having a good day. Let's run him off 900 screens. And then sometimes it's just they looked at the game and said, you know what? I think we're the better team. It's just, small sample size, fluky stuff has happened early. They've hit some shots. If we keep executing our game plan, we're going to be good to go.
I remember when Hubert Davis had his in-game interview with CBS, and he immediately, I forget her name, just cut her off. It's like, we just got to be more aggressive. Like, we have to be more aggressive. We need to attack. And that's when you started seeing things turn around, because that slow start, before you know it, they're pushing the ball in transition. They're going after rebounds harder. And before you know it, they make that, 17-0 run?
Let's hear from Hubert Davis on what allowed them to storm back.
Well, we started to compete. I mean, they punched first. Their physicality, their will, their want to. The first 10 minutes of the game just overwhelmed us. They were catching the ball wherever they wanted to, close to the basket, on the block. They were getting layups, second chance opportunities defensively. They were pushing us off of our screens, our spots. They just were playing better than us. And, we came into the huddle and I said, look, we can't talk about any basketball stuff until we join the fight. And once that started, the level of play in terms of the energy and effort, attention to detail rose, then that's when things started to change. And, we always talk about how do you react and how do you respond, and these guys, the whole team, reacted and responded the right way after going down, was at 14 in the first half.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. There wasn't some tactical change. It was, listen, guys, play better. Call a timeout to say, like, guys, what? Are you just compete? And here's the thing. With UNC, with so many guys that are so proven, right? Players, I said it earlier, they have 560 some odd games of experience in just their starting five. When you have that much proven, you're pretty confident they're going to wake up at some point, right? Hubert Davis didn't have to do anything special to wake up Harrison Ingram or to wake up Armando Bacot or RJ Davis. These are elite competitors that you're pretty confident if you give them, maybe they started with their worst 10 minutes of the game, but you're pretty confident their worst 10 minutes won't be replicated by the same bad 10 minutes, and they're eventually going to pick it up. By the end of the first half, so right, with 5 minutes left, they were still trailing. That feels ridiculous. Based on what we know at the end of the game, they're trailing 5 minutes before half. By the end of the first half, RJ Davis hit a three, Harrison Ingram hit a three, Cormac Ryan hit a three, Armando Bacot hit a couple free throws, had a bunch of rebounds. Nothing there is out of the ordinary. That's what those guys do, right? You will not hear me go, oh, geez, RJ Davis hit a three. It's like, well, I've watched him all season, and pretty much what he does when he needs a bucket is gets open from the perimeter and knocks it down.
He was a first-team All-American for a reason.
ACC Player of the Year for a reason. Cormac Ryan. What Cormac Ryan does is hunt for his three. Didn't shoot it well early in the year. The past month and a half, he's been pretty darn good. Harrison Ingram can do a little bit of everything. If the game called for him to shoot threes, I'm not going to be surprised that he knocked down a three. And then there's Armando Bacot rebounding and going to the free throw line. That's just doing what they do at a slightly higher level than they were doing it. By the way, it was nice to see Harrison Ingram get going again. You know, it felt like a big three again for the last, I don't know, 2.5 games. It was kind of RJ Davis and Bacot and then everybody else. Harrison Ingram, it felt like was back in that top three again. Let's hear from Armando Bacot, solidified in the top three, on Harrison Ingram stepping up.
Games like these, when it gets real rowdy and physical and it's in the trenches, we know these are hairy type of games. So there was no doubt in our mind that he would really show up a big time for us and hit big shots. And the way he defended today was amazing for us. And, I mean, we don't win that without him.
I want to know what it's like to play like ping pong with Harrison Ingram. Because everybody in the North Carolina program, when they talk about him, can't do anything but reference how, like, when the game gets chippy, we know Harrison's going to be there. When they start talking trash, it's always Harrison in the middle of it, right? When the game, like, I want to know what it's like to play. Like I'm sure he's the guy, and this is just inferring based on how competitive and how much he enjoys the back and forth that everybody tells me he enjoys. I bet you he's a guy that's like calling shotgun before the meal's over. You know what I mean? Like, and then arguing with the rules. I could see the car through the window, so you're allowed to call shotgun. Like, he's that guy. He doesn't lose it much. So when Michigan State started chirping a little bit and you start seeing Harrison Ingram chirp back, it's not a situation where, you know, Bacot or Davis as the vets on the team are running over going like, man, chill. They're sitting there with a smirk on their face like, you sure you want to do this, Sparty? You sure you want to wake him up, Izzo and crew? That's the best thing North Carolina has going for them. They know exactly who they are, and they don't panic. How many times in the last 2 months have we said the game was close at half, and then they pulled away? How many times have I used the analogy that they are Frankenstein in an old school horror movie chasing down the protagonists, where the protagonists are running away, armed like high knees, arms pumping, sprinting, and there's Frankenstein behind them. You just see his shadow walking. Step, maybe arms out and like that true Frankenstein posture, just stepping. Yet somehow he's moving faster than they are. He's getting closer than they are. That's what North Carolina does, right? It's halftime. The opposing team feels like, hey, we're in this. They may be a top 5 team in the country, but we're playing with them. We're in the mix. And then here comes Frankenstein. And they're just plodding along, doing what they do, not changing their stride, not doing anything crazy, but they're just chasing you down. And then all of a sudden they're in front of you. And then all of a sudden they're ahead by 10. And then they're ahead by 17. And then you're hugging your seniors on the sideline saying it was a good run. We really appreciate everything you did for the program. And UNC is cruising to a win. I mean, it's that crazy.
I mean, that basically happened in the first half against Michigan State. Remember, they were down, by 14 points. Then by half, they're up 40-31. Like, just seconds after Harrison Ingram hits a three-pointer to extend the lead even further. And I'm sure Michigan State was like, we threw our best haymaker and we're down by 9. Like, what more do we do?
How did we let this happen, right? It's just like the horror movie. It's how? What? Well, we locked the door. How? What? All right, well, you know, we just lost 2 of our friends. Now we got to figure out what to do. They just know exactly who they are. And part of that is experience, right? You're not going to see Cormac Ryan miss 2 threes and suddenly think he's, you know, a slasher, right? He's going to go, all right, I missed 2 threes. Guess what? Pretty confident the next 2 are going to go in. You're not going to see Armando Bacot, right? I thought it was funny after senior day, Armando Bacot hit him with like, I'm a 3-and-D guy now, because he made 2 threes, which were, you know, career threes, number 4 and 5 for him. And he's like, I'm a 3-and-D guy now. There's no real, like, that was obviously a joke, and it was a joke when he said it, but he knows, like, I'm Armando Bacot. I get rebounds. I'm the all-time leading UNC rebounder, and I score down low and I get fouled. RJ Davis is not like, I'm going to try to dunk on somebody. It's like, well, if you do, nice, but really you're a perimeter threat and you're going to do perimeter threat things. Mowed down Michigan State after that slow start.
I think Harrison Ingram's 5 threes were a career high, if I remember correctly, for him.
I can remember a 4. You're probably right.
I think
at least is UNC high.
Yeah.
At least is UNC high. Who knows what happened at Stanford? Although that's an ACC program.
That's an ACC legends now.
Yeah, I was going to say now I'm obviously pro ACC, so I got to start defending Stanford.